All right, so homework 9, starting with outcomes and event probability. Basically, they were nice and they gave you all the possible outcomes of flipping a coin 3 times. If I flip my coin, I might get a heads on the first time, might get a tails on the second time, might get a tails on the third time, however it might be. So a coin is tossed 3 times. An outcome is represented by a string of the sort HTT, means a head on the first toss followed by 2 tails. The 8 outcomes are listed in the table below. Note that each outcome has the same probability. So they want us, for each of the 3 outcomes in the table, check the outcomes that are contained in the event, then in the last column enter the probability of the event. So on the first one it says no heads on the first 2 tosses. So, no heads on the first 2 tosses. Well, this one has a head on the first one, this one has a head on the first one, this one has a head on the second one, this one I have a tail and a tail, so that would not have heads on the first 2 tosses. Then I've got a head and a head, then I've got a tail and a tail again, head, 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 and then I have a tail and a head. So in that list there are only 2 of them that don't have a head on the first 2 tosses. My probability then is going to be 2 out of 8, which we would just reduce down to 1/4. The probability of getting no heads on my first 2 tosses would be 1/4. So on the second one, we want a tail on both the first and the last tosses. So which one shows me tails on the first and the last? Here, yeah. Which ones of those things would have a tail on both the first and the last toss?
The fourth one.
The tail has one on the first and the last.
And the last.
And the last one. Those are the only 2 that have tails on both the first and the last. So again, we've got 2 out of the 8. So 2 out of 8 reduces down to 1/4 for my probability. And then the third one there, a tail on the first toss. Which one show me a tail on the first toss?
The third, fourth,
Third one, the fourth one,
sixth,
the sixth one, and the last one. They all have a tail on the first toss, which means we have 4 out of 8. 4 out of 8 reduces down to 1/2. So my probability of getting a tail on my first toss, 1/2. All right, those ones aren't so bad. So on the second one, suppose that the gender of 3 children of a family are soon to be revealed. An outcome is represented by the string of the sort. GBB means the oldest child is a girl, the second oldest is a boy, and the youngest is a boy. The 8 outcomes are listed in the table below. Note that each outcome has the same probability. And again, we're going to check off which ones are true and then figure out what the probability is. So first one wants to know exactly 1 girl. The last 3. That one has 1 girl, that one has 1 girl, that one has 1 girl. So the probability would be 3/8. Can't simplify that. So 3/8 is my probability. Event 2. 2 or more girls.
the first 4.
The first 4. We have 2 girls, 2 girls, 2 girls, and then we have 3 girls. So that one would be 4/8 or 1/2. Exactly. 1/2 would be my answer in best form. And then the last one, the boy on the first or the second birth, or both. So we can have a boy on the first one, a boy on the second one only, or a boy in both the first and the second one.
So the second one.
Second one,
The third one.
third one,
Fifth one. Sixth one.
Fifth one has. Fifth one, sixth one,
Seventh one.
seventh one,
And eighth one.
and eighth one. So we got a lot of them there. We have
6/8.
6/8, which reduces down
3/4.
to 3/4. Exactly. And back to the coin tossing one, they like to use that. A coin is tossed 3 times. My outcome is represented. HTT means a head on the first, followed by 2 tails. My 8 outcomes are listed. First one we want to do exactly 1 tail.
So the first one and the fifth one.
First one and the 5th one and the 6th one also, right?
Oh, yeah.
6th one only has 1 tail. So my probability there is
3/8.
3/8. A tail on each of the first 2 tosses. So we got to start with a T and a T. Which ones start with 2 T's?
Second and last one.
The second one and the last one. So my probability 2/8 or 1/4, right? And then the last one, more tails than heads.
Second and third.
Second and the third.
And the last two.
And the last 2. And so we would have 4/8, which is 1/2 then.